O di ba pa Philippine Campfire Stories na yung kwento natin ngayon.
Parang
At saka,
tanga.
oo, di ba? Parang bago pa man magkaroon ng clone si Maine Mendoza, si Bongbong Moon.
Welcome sa ating season finale. Yes, nasa huling episode na tayo ng ating seryeng Shapers and Shakers, Personalities of Martial Law. Kami yung mga host. I am Lee Candelaria.
I'm Joselito Ebro.
I am Aaron Malyari.
And I'm Vekal Porha, and you are listening to podcast Conversations on Philippine History, Politics, and Society.
Alam nyo, sure ako na na in-expect ng ating mga listeners na ang huling episode natin ay tungkol sa presidente, sa sitting president ng Pilipinas, si Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. or si BBM.
Or at least, in-expect nila na at some point, isasama natin si BBM dito sa season na to. Kasi syempre, hindi kompleto ang Marcos political dynasty without him. And by that, we mean those who are in power today who are already personalities of martial law.
Mahalagang banggitin yan kasi baka maghanap ang listeners natin ng iba pang members ng Marcos political dynasty. So, tama na siguro yung na-cover natin sa ating season na ito. At least kahit sa podcast man lang. Marami kasi tayong pag-uusapan tungkol kay BBM. Kaya simulan na natin yung ating conversation. Una, sa kanyang list of accomplishments in his more than 25 years of public service.
Okay, kung titingnan ang kanyang profile na available sa website page ng official website ng Philippine Senate, isang prominent na accomplishment raw ni BBM ay ang Ilocos Norte Power Windmill o yung Bangi Wind Farm na first in Southeast Asia. To be fair, ang phrasing sa website ay to the effect na it was BBM's good governance that attracted investments in energy generation.
Or pwede rin yung geographical characteristics ng Ilocos Norte yung naka-attract ng investment. Kasi it was a 1996 study by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in the US which identified Ilocos Norte as a feasible location for energy windmills. Tapos, North Wind Power Development Corporation or NPDC ang nakipag-coordinate sa World Bank to construct the windmill. I therefore conclude that literally anybody can be governor of Ilocos Norte when the windmills were built. And it's not necessarily his efforts that led to that wind farm.
At tulad niyang wind farm debacle na yan, maraming questionable claims itong si BBM at nagsilabasa na yung mga yan nung eleksyon. Pero for our finale episode, let's try and go beyond these controversies about his claims of accomplishment doon sa tagal ng kanyang panunungkulan bilang gobernador, vice governor, congressman at senador. Kasi tulad ng majority ng mga politiko sa bansa natin na ang tanging pinangahawakan lang ay ang kanilang matunog na last names, alam naman nating wala talagang masyadong achievements at accomplishment ang marami sa ating mga leaders. At hindi rin naman yung requirement sa pagiging presidente. Kasi nga 'di ba kahit naman si Noynoy Aquino, wala din masyado nung napush siyang tumakbo bilang presidente noong 2010. Perhaps mas magiging fruitful yung discussion natin kung pag-uusapan natin yung buhay ni BBM as the son of the president during martial law.
So itong si BBM or Bongbong Marcos, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. was born on September 13, 1957. Mas matanda lang sa kanya si Aimee ng halos 2 taon. Ipinanganak siya sa Santa Mesa, Manila habang ang kanyang ama ay congressman ng 2nd District ng Ilocos Norte. So, like Aimee, lumaki siya kasabay ng meteoric rise to power ng kanyang amang si Ferdinand Marcos.
Halos magkalapit lang sila ni Aimee, Pero weird enough, parang mas si Aimee yung nabigyan ng unang tikim ng politika through kabataang barangay. Tulad ng napag-usapan natin sa ating Aimee Marcos episode. Interestingly, mas sakto yung age ni Bongbong actually para mag-head ng kabataang barangay. Bakit kaya hindi sa kanya to binigay? No? So, ayon sa account mismo ni Ferdinand Marcos, magkaiba daw kasi itong dalawang magkapatid.
Ando na nga tayo. Sabi mismo ni Ferdinand Sr. or ni Marcos Sr. sa kanyang diary about Aimee, and I quote, "Aimee won the topmost honors in school. In all her subjects, and her teachers were proud of her. An Ilocana teacher commented, "Ti pariya hangan nga agbunga ti tarong." Pasintabi po sa Ilocano ko, pero it translates into an apple tree will not bear an orange fruit.
Di ba? Talino pala ni ate girl. So sa Assumption niyang Recognition Day na binabanggit ni Ferdinand Marcos noong 1970, the same year, ito naman ang sabi ni Marcos Sr. tungkol sa kanyang uniko iho na si Bongbong. And I quote, "Imelda feels calamity has befallen us because she cannot control Bongbong, who does nothing but play with his friends to the prejudice of his schooling. He has lost his star, missed 2 days of homework, and stayed up tonight with his 2 friends. It has reached the stage where I have warned him that I will throw his friends out of the palace if they are overstaying. But I feel that the boy's willpower has not developed enough." End of
Grabe, no? So parang bahay talaga nila yung Malacanang, no? So parang
Totoo yan.
papalayasin ko yung mga kaibigan mo kapag overstaying sila rito. Parang wow, yun yung talaga yan. No?
Taray.
Pero yun nga, mga 12 years old pa lang naman si Bongbong nito. So, I mean, bata pa rin naman talaga. So, hayaan mo na maglaro, di ba? Kapag tumanda na yan at ganyan pa rin, yun yung mas malaking issue, di ba? Pero itong si Ferdinand Marcos ay concerned nga talaga about Bongbong's education. Kasi nga, hindi raw talaga academically inclined. So, later that year, it was decided that he will be sent to England. Ito muli ang isang entry sa diary ni Ferdinand Marcos about this. And I quote, "There are some criticisms, especially Max Sullivan, of the decision to send Bongbong to England, but it offers the best education for a boy. In the Philippines, he is either spoiled or hated because he is the president's son, and he has to learn to stand on his own. But he has to learn Ilocano before he goes. So I may send him to the north first." End of quote. So ang tanong ko dito, natuto ba talaga ng Ilocano? Kasi according to BBM himself, his Ilocano is weak.
Yeah, no, so and after a few months in England, noong una raw ay tamad pa rin itong si Bongbong kasi nga nag-a-adjust pa. Pero later, naging okay naman na raw. Sabi ulit ni Ferdinand Marcos, the father, and I quote, "He had lost his darkness and he looked unbelievably handsome. He had acquired some kind of an English accent and the peculiarly English terms like frightful, dreadful, chap. He was changed much deeper than mere accent or adeptness in the English language. He now placed greater importance on his academics than on sports. He casually announced that he would have to give up his judo as it cuts into his study and work on physics. And he bragged of his being told by his master that they would recommend his elevation or acceleration in physics. He also bragged that he was third in mathematics in the class of 120. Imelda and I agreed that we made the right decision in sending him to England." End quote.
Parang dapat lang naman na maging maayos siya doon kasi scholar siya ng bayan. 'Di ba? Pera ng bayan yung paaral sa kanya sa UK. Pero dito rin natin makikita na merong natural na inclination si BBM na unfortunately hindi niya ma-maximize kasi nga daw, at ito ay sabi ng kanyang anak na si Sandro Marcos, gusto raw ni BBM maging scientist talaga. Pero sabi raw ng kanyang ama na si Ferdinand Marcos Sr., walang pera dyan, so magpolitika ka na lang.
So wais, no? Although kailangan din nating i-point out na whatever we read from Ferdinand Marcos's diary should be taken with a grain of salt. Kasi he's not totally honest din naman about his writing. Kasi alam niyang may babasa nito in the future and dapat ayusin niya or at least show a better picture of him and also his family. Anyway, going back to Bongbong, narinig niyo na ba yung isa sa mga urban legends surrounding him? Ayon sa kwento, namatay daw yung tunay na Bongbong habang nasa England. Sa ibang kwento naman, sa Manila daw siya pinatay. So, ang ginawa daw ni Imelda at ni Ferdy ay kumuha ng pamangkin at pinaritoke para maging kamukha ni Bongbong. So, ang BBM na nakikita natin ay di umano, isa na lamang clone.
Oh my God!
Anong masasabi niyo dyan? Pero bago kayo mag-react, break muna tayo. Pahinga muna.
O, di ba pa Philippine Campfire Stories na yung kwento natin ngayon.
Parang
At saka,
tanga.
oo, di ba? Parang bago pa man magkaroon ng clone si Maine Mendoza, si Bongbong Moon.
Ang random.
Mga dilulo.
Delulu. Anyways,
Naalala ko nga na nag-resurface itong story na ito noong 2021 when someone sought to have BBM disqualified as candidate for president. Siyempre, we take this urban legend as something that is not true. Urban legend nga di ba? More than anything, I think what this urban legend tells us is how the people perceived the Marcoses and the power they wielded and the things that they could do at that time. Imagine, retoke sa 1970s ng ganung level, di ba?
so, Bongbong was still in high school at Worth School when Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. So after high school, he proceeded to the University of Oxford for his undergraduate studies. But he failed to get a degree after failing economics and politics. Kasi hindi nga raw talaga yun yung inclination niya. So, Oxford confirmed mismo na hindi nga daw talaga siya nakapagtapos nung kanyang bachelor's degree. Pero until now, he asserts that he had a degree. And then after that, he went on to enroll in Masters in Business Administration sa Wharton School of Business or MBA, University of Pennsylvania. So, nagma-masters kaya wala kang undergrad. So, malamang na hocus-pocus itong admission niya dito sa Wharton. But he was again not able to finish and had to withdraw from the program after he was elected as Ilocos Vice Governor in 1980.
But before we discuss BBM's public career, may mga interesting happenings sa kanyang pre-politician years. Isa rito yung kanyang short stint as a child star. No? So, sa pelikulang Iginuhit ng Tadhana, The Ferdinand E. Marcos Story, which is a biopic in 1965 in time of Marcos's campaign for presidency, may eksena doon na nag-i-speech ang batang Bongbong about being a politician someday.
Kasi talagang it's a family affair.
Totoo yan, no? Tayo-tayo lamang dito, no? So, true enough, no? So, and then in 1966, Bongbong and Aimee were kids, obviously, but they were among the 400 kids waiting in the Malacanang's music room for an exclusive meet and greet with the Beatles. O, diba? The biggest star nung panahon na yon, meet and greet nila, no? So, the Beatles would remember their Manila experience as a very troubling visit. Pero interesting moment itong meet and greet na ito sa Malacanang. Kasi the Marcoses wanted to make it seem as if they were in with the times, no? Na talagang sila ay the it family, kumbaga, no? So, on the day of the event, July 4, 1966, armed with aides went to the Manila Hotel to ask when the Beatles will go to Malacanang. Dito na nagkagulo-gulo kasi the Beatles did not know about the supposed schedule. Their manager even said that the Beatles do not do official functions. No? So around lunchtime, the armed aides left without the Beatles. No? So sabi ng manager nila, they saw on television that the media was reporting about hundreds of kids in the palace waiting for the band. At ang sabi niya, ng manager, and I quote, "I would rather the boys met 300 children in India than 300 kids who just happened to be at the palace because their parents know someone." Oh.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, these were kids with their parents that had political and business connections. So after 4 hours, it was made known that the Beatles were not arriving. And interestingly, the kids were interviewed by a newspaper. And Bongbong, at 8 years old, was quoted saying, and I quote, "I'd like to pounce on the Beatles and cut off their hair. Don't anybody dare me to do anything because I'll do it just to see how game the Beatles are." End of quote. Yeah. Bongbong at 8 years old, no? And it was this Malacanang visit that did not happen that led to the maltreatment of the Beatles. They were hit with a huge tax bill. They were refused service at Manila Hotel, and an angry mob waited for them at the airport. It was clear that this was all because they snubbed the Marcoses.
Hindi pa nga martial nun eh. So, isa pang interesting na anecdote concerning Bongbong is that he liked hunting daw. Kaya noong 1976, the Kalawit Safari Park was created to feature African animals. Kalawit is an island in Palawan and it was inhabited. So pinaalis yung mga tao dito para gawing game reserve ng animals from Africa na hindi naman endangered at all. After the fall of the Marcoses, the island became known as Bongbong Safari Park. Kasi pinupuntahan daw ito ng presidential son to hunt native wild boar.
Grabe talaga, no? Lifestyle of the rich and the famous. So sa ating pagbabalik, pag-uusapan pa natin yung karera sa politika naman ni Bongbong Marcos. And we're back. So nabanggit natin kanina that Bongbong got elected in 1980 as Vice Governor of Ilocos Norte. So at the age of 23. Then noong 1983, naging gobernador siya kasi nag-resign yung governor na tita niya din. So akalain mo yun. He stayed in this position until 1986. Interestingly, Bongbong was appointed din as chairman of the Philippine Communications Satellite Corporation or PhilComSat noong 1985. By this time, Ferdinand Marcos, through his cronies, owned a whopping 39.9% share of this company, which allowed him to appoint his son. And at the time, BBM had a salary that ranged from $10,000 to $100,000 US dollars every month. So, dollars yon, at buwan-buwan, monthly salary yon, hindi annual. So this is despite rarely visiting the PhilComSat office and having no real duties. So by the way, profitable ang PhilComSat because it was the sole agent for the Philippines linked to the global satellite network. So very unethical actually for the Marcoses to have been involved in the PhilComSat in the first place.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the lavish life that BBM lived, no? It was very clear how the Marcos children benefited from the ill-gotten wealth of the family. BBM and Imie's monthly allowance, halimbawa, while studying abroad was $10,000 US dollars, no? Magkano yung stipend mo, Vic?
Ma'am, huwag nating pag-usapan. Kaloka. Isang taon.
And itong si BBM at si Imee, they were housed in lavish apartments and they were assigned mansions in Metro Manila and Baguio, among others. So it was very obvious how the Marcoses leveraged their positions in politics to amass wealth talaga. Kaya naman yung mga argument na ang kasalanan ng ama, hindi kasalanan ng anak, we're not talking about small things here, kasi it was the people's money that was stolen.
Yeah, pero ayan na nga, no? So, kung tulad ka ni BBM na lumaking naniniwala na deserve nyo yung yaman na ginagastos nyo, wala kang makikitang mali, 'di ba? For sure, sa isip ng mga Marcoses at 10 ng mga kaanak at kapamilya nila, wala silang ginagawang mali, which makes it more infuriating. As historians kasi, we saw how the family ransacked the country. We saw the effect based na rin sa ating pag-aaral ng kasaysayan.
Naalala ko tuloy nung mga huling araw ng EDSA Revolution, nakasuot ng military fatigue si Bongbong. So, handa daw kasi siya talagang mangyera, lumaban, at pinush pa nga niya yung tatay niya na atakihin at pasabugin ng Camp Crame. Despite sa dami ng tao or civilian na nandoon. Hindi pumayag si Marcos Sr. kasi kahit naman may sakit na yun, nag-iisip pa rin siya.
And then later, after their family was exiled here in Hawaii, BBM participated in an attempt to withdraw $200 million from a secret family bank account sa Switzerland. So nakatunog yung Swiss government, so the bank account was frozen. So mahaba pa itong kwento ng ill-gotten wealth ng mga Marcos. At after mamatay ni Ferdinand Marcos, papayagang bumalik ang pamilya niya sa Pilipinas para harapin yung mga charges sa kanila. And Bongbong wasted no time to establish the Marcos political dynasty in Ilocos. So siya yung unang mahalal na Marcos post-EDSA. Perhaps emboldened by his local victory, he ran for senator in 1995, pero at the time natalo siya, placing 16th. Mataas pa rin,
True, mataas pa rin yun to think na isinuka sila ng taong bayan less than a decade ago, no? And in the same year, 1995, BBM attempted to push a deal with the Philippine government to keep a quarter of the ill-gotten wealth that has yet to be recovered from them. And of course, the Philippine Supreme Court said no. No, syempre no, 'di ba? Ang tanga lang din ng attempt ng settlement na ito, no. Pero yun nga yung point, no. Bakit nakikipag-settle? Ibig sabihin may ninakaw talaga.
Yeah, totoo. And since then, he has never left the political limelight until we get to the present. He is the sitting president. What a ride for the Marcoses, right? No? So, kung iisipin mo, ang daming highs and lows ng istorya ng pamilya nila. Ang saya sanang sundan, kumbaga ang entertaining, 'di ba? Pwedeng pang Netflix series. No? So, parang Breaking Bad or Narcos, 'di ba? No? So, or The Borgias, ganyan. No? So, until you realize na isang bansa yung ninanakawan nila. At ang malala, one way or another, apektado tayong lahat kasi bansa natin 'to.
True. So, iniisip ko nga minsan, ano pa bang interest ng mga Marcoses para magkaroon ng ganitong katinding inclination, no, for power? Tapos naisip ko rin, syempre, kailangan nilang protektahan yung mga sarili nila. Mas madaling gawin yan kapag nasa power ka, di ba?
Totoo. And despite decades of effort, the Philippine Commission on Good Government, or PCGG, has only recovered 174.2 billion pesos. So malaki siya, pero barya lang yan. Kung ikukumpara dun sa conservative estimate na 10 bilyong dolyar na total na ninakaw ng mga Marcoses. Sabi nga ni Walden Bello, perhaps it will be easier for Marcos to access this hidden wealth stashed somewhere in the world now that he is president. And this also explains why Marcos is friendly with the West kasi much of his wealth was hidden in Western countries.
So it seems mahaba pa ang kwento ni Bongbong. Mahaba pa at marami pa ang kanilang pera din kasi. So handa silang pondohan yan, ano. So, pero unfortunately for us, hanggang dito na lang muna tayo. Tutuldukan na muna natin dito for this episode. So, sabay-sabay nating abangan ano pa mangyayari sa kanya at sa ating bansa. Maraming salamat sa ating mga listeners sa makikinig at pagsubaybay sa podcast for this season. No? I know that it took us a while for us to come back, but we hope that you enjoyed this 12-episode season.
Pansamantala muna natin ulit na tayo ay magpapaalam for a break at magbabalik next year para sa ating regular season. When we come back, itutuloy natin ang ating kwentuhan this time tungkol naman sa mga personalities ng EDSA Revolution.
Pahinga muna kasi ang dami ko pang check-ang papel. Hindi, biro lang. Pero habang inaabangan nyo yung next season ng podcast, balikan nyo muna yung mga naunang episodes at season namin. I-follow nyo na rin kami sa aming mga social media pages like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, at YouTube.
And you can also visit our website, that's podcast.org. Magkita kaya tayo muli sa susunod na season. Sa ngayon, stay safe and as always, have a good day.